Good morning, guys. Welcome to the channel. And today I wanted to discuss something that I think is very important, and it relates to legal aid. So, one of the subscribers contacts me and says, I'm actually often scared to take a legal aid lawyer because, from my experience, all people that are represented by legal aid lawyers actually end up in jail. And and obviously they needed to hear from me what I think about the situation and whether or not indeed that is the case, or that legal aid lawyers are really bad. Now, this is a very confusing and actually very complex situation, and obviously we must start to just give a small brief highlight, and I think I will, in the follow-up videos, go into more detail to explain what legal aid is about and what it does and how one can go about getting access. But in a nutshell, they are a national entity which provides free legal representation, actually at state expense, and obviously it's funded from the coffers of government, and they play, in my view, a very pivotal role in our country, and especially in as far as the role of ensuring access to justice for the vulnerable and the marginalized poor in our country. And I think it's a very important issue that is also raised here. And sometimes we need to get to a stage where we 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 differentiate between fact and fiction. And I will certainly tell you one thing: legal aid lawyers are as professional as they come. They might find themselves in a system that is a bit overburdened or inundated with requests for assistance, and obviously workload, and many other things. But one thing is clear, is that they are professional, they are competent, they are qualified, and they have met any and every criteria that is necessary for them to function as legal practitioners in our country. In my view, they have earned their right. They have earned their right as legal practitioners, and among the best in the legal profession have at a stage worked within legal aid. Now, one of the first and foremost thing is that, let's go back to the beginning. Now, any and every legal aid lawyer should have studied at a recognized institution in our country, at a recognized university. They would have studied their LLB or any other prior degree that was recognized at the time and duly admitted. So they went and studied at the very same university that a legal practitioner in a private sector, studied at. They sat in the same chairs, spent the same hours, they read the same books, the same modules, exposed to the same practical training at institution of higher learning at university. Now, I wonder then, what is then the difference between their degrees, their training, vis-a-vis the training of somebody in the private space? Secondly, then, they did articles, right? And that everybody does, or pupillage, like some of the advocates that have. All right. So what is the hullabaloo? I don't understand the fuss. So they were subjected to the same board exams or bar exams. They were subjected to the same intensity, same preparation, and are even more exposed to complex work. And I do not see how they are lesser than anybody else in the legal profession. And saying that, I'm not saying there are no elements within any institution or company, whether private, government, legal aid, doesn't matter, who are not applying their minds or doing the work or putting the hours that it is necessary to hone their skills. All right? So there will always be those elements. But to cast aspersions and to express a view that all legal aid lawyers are incompetent and in fact undermine the very purpose that they exist to do. Ask the millions that they have helped year in, year out. Ask them whether they are incompetent, and you will realize by and large, a huge majority are very thankful that they have come across a legal aid lawyer in this country. The other thing that I want to indicate is that there is this notion that um, legal aid lawyers are just legal aid lawyers. No, no, no. Sometimes, due to obviously a number of reasons, such as the overload and whatever, they source legal practitioners from the private sector. So the fact that a person is appearing on behalf of legal aid does not mean that they are in fact an employee of legal aid. So it could be somebody contracted to legal aid that would be having their own private practice but having work or doing work for legal aid. So if you are saying that legal aid lawyers are bad, then indirectly you are also saying that people in practice are bad. And you cannot differentiate between a person who is at that time working on behalf of legal aid and then later on going and working for their own account. Same people. So just like a doctor, for example, during certain hours he's working for government, and then after certain hours he's working for a private medical clinic. You know, the issue is here is competence is not about where you work. Competence is about your qualification. It's about how you yourself continue to keep abreast with the developments in the profession, and how you actually at the end of the day apply your mind to the issues. But one thing is clear: any lawyer is as good as the case that the client brings. So if the case that the client brings is bad, however brilliant, whether you get a Herinel, whether you get a Dalimpofu, Ngukaitobi, whoever you get is as good as the case you bring to them. So having said that, I want to dispel the myth that legal aid lawyers are substandard and that every single person that they represent is actually landing up in jail. This is utter nonsense, and we cannot make assumptions of this nature. Now, these people are really, one thing I must highlight is that we need to know, South Africans, that as professional as they are, as hardworking as they are overworked and underpaid, to my view, for all the good work that they are doing in this country. They are really, 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 really inundated with a lot of work, and they are among the most brilliant people that I've come to know, and they are doing fantastic work. So having said that, in the later videos I will come and introduce to you this legal aid that we are talking about, so that you as a South African, you know when can you approach them to give you legal assistance, and if so, for what type of cases that you can go to them, and how do they go about determining whether or not you qualify to be assisted by them. And I will tell you, South Africans, that in the end, we must never discredit a whole institution because of one or two rotten potatoes that we maybe have had a personal experience with. One individual cannot certainly be a representation of the entire organization. Having said that, thank you very much, and continue to subscribe, and continue to like the channel, and continue obviously to share your comments and views, and more importantly, suggest topics to us so that we can deliver content that is relevant to you. Thank you very much, South Africa.